Ashbridge is in Miami Vice and recently involved in an incredible story out of Germany. Here to talk about it for the first time, Don Johnson is next. Don't go away. Let me give you the story as we have it. According to German customs officials, investigators in that country are examining documents found in Don Johnson's car involving financial transactions, credit notes, securities, totaling $8 billion. The documents reportedly were found November 6 when Johnson's car was stopped during a routine check as he entered Germany from Switzerland with several other men. German officials have been quoted saying they notified U.S. tax and customs officials because of the large amount. They also say there currently is no indication of illegal transactions. What happened?
You know, this whole week has been this. It's comical and funny in some ways if it weren't so damaging and difficult. Last November, because some people were under the impression that this just happened, that I was in handcuffs in Germany or Switzerland or somewhere. And last November, I was meeting with some American businessmen in Zurich for film financing for a film fund that I was putting together for my company. They gave me some bank statements and some resumes and some other documents, some things to prove that they could perform as investors. I said, thank you very much. I got in the car and I started off for Germany to look at the new Mercedes SLR. Great car, I'm probably going to get one. On the way through the German border, I got stopped. It happens a lot these days with traveling because of since 9/11. I mean, everyone's being stopped for everything. And just like everyone else, I got out. I gave them my passport, and they looked in my assistant's briefcase and saw these documents, saw the bank statements and the resumes and things like that. They didn't really quite understand what they were seeing, and they said, gee, do you mind if we photocopy these? And I said, sure, go ahead, copy, do whatever you want. I signed some autographs, we joked around. They said, hey, great, good luck with your film financing, have a great time, and I took off and went to look at the Mercedes. P.S., 4 or 5 days ago, in some magazine, I guess it's a German tabloid somewhere in Germany, I don't even know the name of it. Some tabloid journalist wrote, I don't know how he came up with this fantastic idea.
You mean did not have $8 billion?
Do you know how much room it would take to put $8 billion? It certainly wouldn't fit in the trunk of any car you've ever seen.
No, but you could have certificates worth $8
And by the way, do you think if I had $8 billion, I'd be sitting here talking about it?
So you had no money?
No, I had bank statements and resumes, for goodness
of people
sake.
who were going to invest. Did it total
yeah.
$8 billion? Where did they come up with $8? Why not $7 billion?
I have no idea. Frankly, the deal fell apart, and I never really examined the documents.
So what took so long between November and March?
Now you're talking. I'd like to know that very same thing myself. Virtually nothing. I've never heard from any authorities, not the German government, not the American government,
But the Glasgow Herald
headlined,
this is the headline, this is Glasgow, Scotland, I presume. German customs suspect Miami Vice star of running money laundering operation.
Yeah.
Other headlines, things aren't so sunny for Don. Vice or Price, TV star Don Johnson, car shopping with $8 billion to spend. Busted.
Bought the whole company.
That's another headline. Busted with billions.
I know, huh? You know, this is, I mean, it's funny.
I mean, it is funny.
It's funny, but there's some ancillary things that are going on here. I have a new business with partners, and we're making investments and things, and the damage. I've had 2 bank accounts closed just off of the news reports.
I mean, the bank closed it?
The bank closed my accounts off of the news reports, not off of any real investigation. They didn't bother to check and see if there was any real investigation. They closed my bank accounts. My partners are looking at me like with a jaundiced eye going, what is going on here?
So what was in the car was statements made by potential investors.
Potential investors.
How much money was in the car? Money.
I probably had a few $100 in my pocket and some credit cards. And
the guys who inspected it didn't think anything of it?
No.
Why did they take pictures of it?
You know, I think that on the German-Swiss border, there's a lot of, especially the way I understand it, after I've been, doing my own investigating, there's a lot of transfer of funds that German citizens do to Switzerland and vice versa and other things. So I think that anybody that comes through there with papers or documents that look like funds or that look like it might have some financial bearing, they're going to say, well, maybe we better just take a picture of it, They took a picture of it. I drove on.
Did any of these newspapers, journalists, contact you?
So many newspapers, the BBC, the New York Post, I mean, everyone jumped on this story. And in the legal action, and I'm considering it, I'm going to name each and every one of them. Now they have.
You're going to sue the New York Post?
I'm going to
sue the newspapers?
I'm going to line up. I'm going to line because they perpetuated this story of money laundering, based on no evidence, based on no investigation, and it's caused me an unbelievable grief. Unbelievable grief.
None of the papers called you?
No. Well, they called. Actually, what happened was about 2 weeks ago, we got an email from a journalist at a television station in Germany, and he said, there's something about Don Johnson coming through the border, and was he stopped? And my media advisor, quite appropriately, handled it and emailed them back and said he was stopped. He showed them his passport. They exchanged. He signed a few autographs. He said, "See ya," and they wished him luck, and he went on. About a week later, well, actually last Monday, this tabloid wrote, I guess according to they actually did the television show and said that there was some sort of investigation going on, and then the tabloid wrote that there was maybe money laundering. Well, you say $8 billion in Don Johnson, apparently that gets covered.
Boy. Well, so now you've had your run-ins with the press at times, have you not? I mean,
something. By and large, the press has been very fair with me, and
but you were once bad boy, they called you, right?
Well, I mean, I think they sometimes get the character and the characters I played and stuff like that mixed up with the actual.
So where do you gather in this interval where this came from? I mean, you must be racking your brain to think.
I truly think that because Sonny Crockett and Nash Bridges are characters that deal with money laundering and drug smuggling and these exotic. I think that they weren't able to delineate, and I also think that it's a sexy story. Obviously, it was picked up by some of the most venerable news outlets in the world.
The LA Times run it?
No, gratefully they didn't. I'll tell you who didn't. Was Reuters, who I gave the interview to yesterday, and I said, they had the sense. They said, something doesn't smell right with this. And CNN didn't go with it. Smart. They don't want to be on my list.
You really thinking of suing people?
Well, I don't know.
How were you damaged?
I'll tell you
other than the bank closing your account? Well, I guess you were, certainly.
You know something? For the rest of my life, anytime somebody taps into the nexus of Don Johnson, it comes up. Oh yeah, and at one time there was something shady about it. And forever, you have to answer that question to somebody. Tell me what happened at the border that day. No matter what goes on, that affects you on a business level, on a credibility.
And to you, when it happened, this was just another momentary incident in your life that you never gave a second thought to.
Not 1 second.
After you drove into Germany, you forgot about it?
Yeah, went to Germany, looked at the car, ordered one.
You've ordered the car?
Yeah.
Did you pay cash? Aha!
Well, by the way, do you need a loan? Well, I'll tell you something else that bothers me. From now on, every time I go out to dinner, I'm going to have to pick up the dinner check.
Well, it must have hit you, to read $8 billion.
I mean, first of all, my son called me crying, and it's been terrible. It's been terrible. This has been one of the most difficult weeks of my life.
Really?
Really.
Well, maybe, hopefully, this can put it away. I mean, you're being seen all over the world. It's being seen in Germany now, and hopefully this will...
Your mouth to God's ears. And maybe the news agencies that picked this up and ran with it in the first place, they could buy themselves a little fair play here by running a good retraction. Otherwise, they're going on my list.
Going off to Europe again?
Oh, yeah, of course. I enjoy traveling, and I enjoy traveling in a variety of countries. I'll go to Germany. I love Germany, except one particular place in Germany.
What's the car you bought?
A Mercedes SLR. It's the new
new?
coupe. Yeah.
It's a coupe.
Yeah. It's hot. The doors go up like this.
Yeah? What does that go for, that car?
Come on, you got
I
$8
could tell you,
billion. What
but
does it
then
go for?
I got $8 billion. Yeah.
Petty cash. What does it go for?
I don't know. It's a few $100,000.
When are you on screen again?
I don't know. I'm taking a break. Well, I was taking a break until my friends in Germany helped me get back
You're
on
back
the show.
on screen now.
Yeah.
Thanks, Don.
Hey.
Don Johnson, it was just bank statements. Don Johnson, active businessman, and they didn't even come up with the money. You didn't even invest in a deal.
Yeah, that's what's really damning.
Don Johnson. And tomorrow night, Merv Griffin and Cindy Adams will be with us on a very special Larry King weekend. Back to tell you more about the rest of the weekend on Monday after this.